So the way we structured at the moment, and what we're going to do this month is you will have opportunity to preview and experience this course, the one which we will soon show you on the web, is an e-learning course. And the highlights, the way it has been designed right now, it is fully case study. It has nothing much to show you PowerPoints and keep clicking the slides, as much as presenting some interesting case studies. And that, the way they picked out is that they emphasize the two elements I talked about, the pyramid thinking and the 4P process. So as you read the case study, respond to the case study, you will get into understanding how these two processes are to be used. And then they won't be the same case studies, so they will change every month. So you'll have different case studies. So then you can imagine a whole bank of case studies will get created in this process. In fact, one of the assignments which we have in this is that you contribute as a learner a case study. So that's how it gets more and more dynamic. So it has a collaborative platform with discussion groups and mentors, and some of my friends here sitting have agreed to become mentors, and we would like to have you on board so that this becomes a more interesting process. And it will be blended, and triggering field work, surveys, stakeholder consultation. We call this as localization. So for example, if there is a course on community solid waste management, decentralized solutions, then not only are you taught in terms of a case study, but then you are encouraged to develop an action plan for your neighborhood. So if you are taught a few things, you will go actually. For example, it's waste segregation you mentioned, Rishi. So to what extent waste segregation is practiced in your area? What are those barriers why people are not doing? Will be a part of your assignment which you will then upload. And if you imagine that there are 100 students from different parts of the world and share this information, then you through collaboration learn what's the situation in different countries when it comes to waste segregation. But then the idea is that at the end of the course, you will come up with a localized solid waste action plan. So you learn how to make such a plan. And then the best of the plans, we would look for a sponsor who would fund implementing that plan. So it's not going to be limiting to learning alone on the web, but you will collect information, synthesize a report, submit that action plan, which somebody is going to peer to say, okay, we received in this class 100 action plans from 20 countries, and these are the best 5 which we have a sponsor. So you can move ahead and say, I could now implement after learning from such a course. So that's what I mean here by the blended part. So it's competitive in that sense and rewarding, I talked about it, provides resources and networking opportunities. What we have right now planned is 4 weeks duration and 4 case studies. So 1 week each case study, and unless you finish that, you can't go to the next. You've got to finish it in 1 week and then move to the next case study and so on and so forth. So you've got a time frame of a week and you can join anytime. And the course assessment is done again on the understanding of the case study, and then we have a certification once you clear the 4 cases. And the way we have taken the first set of 4 case studies and talk about these 4 case studies briefly. The first one is taken on the theme of urban air quality management. And the reason is because, is there an air quality manager for the city today? Is there anybody responsible for Mumbai's air quality? Question to you. Who is responsible? For water I know. Waste we know. Air quality? Maharashtra Pollution Control Board for Mumbai's air quality? Yeah, that's correct. Which is enforced by the... Yeah, and then the whole state is declared as air pollution control area. But when it comes to Mumbai's air quality, so you have a case sometimes like this when there is no manager officially put in place with a budget and a target, There has to be a target, there has to be some budget, and this is something very important resource we are living with on. So it's interesting that how do you do environmental management when there is no manager, designated manager. So that's why the first case study opens with this and walks you through different strategies, and then there is a discussion case study of substitution as it took place in Delhi of using CNG, right? And then some people believe it was the right move, some people say it's not the right move. Is that the solution which should be replicated across all Indian cities? So there's a discussion which happens in this case. The strategy here is a substitution going for cleaner fuel. See, environmental management, when you look at the toolbox, has many strategies. I talked about avoid, prevent. So one of them is also substitute. So we substitute something which is not acceptable with something acceptable as a precautionary principle. So I was telling you about the principles. So suppose I have followed precautionary principle, I'll say I would like to substitute like the azodized case which we have from the Ministry of Environment regulation, which is a precautionary approach taken by the government, and said that no, we would like to ban the azodized. So this becomes one of the strategies for managing environment. Now the second example is genetically modified food and environmental risk assessment. And how many of you have read about this? Genetically modified food? Yeah. And in the US, the supermarkets are 50% carrying GMFs today. We have had in India the Monsanto controversy. Now these are the cases where you have to either say we are willing to face the problem of food security, or we are willing to take the risk of the GMO or GMF. Now these are complex decisions in environmental field of understanding risks. The first was a case where there was no manager. How do you still address the problem of urban air quality? The second one is a problem where either way you go, you are running a risk. And how do you take a decision? There is no time to do 20 years research, 30 years research. You got to decide something at some point of time. And that's the purpose of this case studies and this topic, to make a student understand the complexity when it comes to risk analysis. And the third one is, we talked a bit about it in the sustainability tiers slides, is the business and sustainability. Does sustainability pay? And this is a basic question any businessman would ask. Prasad, I'm sure you have answers. Taj is doing it today, which is because of reasons. I mean, there will be many, not just money terms, but other reasons as well, right? So, this is a discussion on case studies from India Incorporated to see where sustainability is today in the business. And the fourth one is a conflict resolution case, resource competition, water. And idea is to learn how do you manage competitive use of water for drinking, for irrigation, for industrial. And one of the case studies we have picked up here is for the Devas water supply in Madhya Pradesh, which ran through a very interesting conflict, water-related conflict and its resolution. So what you got to understand here is how do you manage the conflict. So each case study has a message, and then each month, as I said, case studies would change. We're going to view now very quickly the e-learning portal, but before I do that, maybe Divya, you want to show the job? The job will show later, right? So first one will show this. So we'll take you there. This is the way you would log in here. I think Divya, you are logging in now as a student, are you? Just a couple of slides to give you a minute. We are now on the web. And then you see each of those four what we talked about stacked there. So you click on the first one. And here what you see is the features. You can start the lesson. You have a calendar there which talks about what activities, any announcements. Then you also see the messages which are posted, the projects which have been allotted as assignment, and you can start the lesson maybe.